Today, we are going to talk about why you need to get comfortable with rideshare drivers. They are not going anywhere. Also, I wanted to point out that obviously you have noticed a new friend here. We have a brand new sound system. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. Thank you all for the lovely constructive comments you have left me about my sound. I was just waiting for Black Friday, and now we've got a nice, beautiful sound setup at Car Rental University. I'm very excited about it. If you can notice already, I sound beautiful. So today we're going to talk about why you need to get comfortable with rideshare drivers. This is a trend that I'm going to tell you right now. It is not going anywhere. This is not going away. You're just going to have to live with the fact that rideshare drivers are going to be a part of the car share industry moving forward. I would say that this is going to become the bulk of your rentals. Now, some of you may think, I do not want those grimy little Uber drivers in my car. Well, I hate to tell you this, but the reality of the situation in this industry is that they are by far the most lucrative segment in this space. Before I get into that, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business. There's lots of great information in there. It also includes the Car Share Growth Guide, which gives you a city-by-city breakdown of which car share platforms are strongest in your area. Also, don't forget to give this channel a like and a subscribe. I always appreciate that. So already we are seeing this with Turo. Turo made a big announcement a couple months ago, partnering with Uber Rent. Now Turo cars can be used for rideshare drivers, mainly for delivery services. I hate to tell you this, but it's just not going to go away. There is just too much money with these guys. What most people don't realize is that there are more rideshare drivers out there than there are grains of sand in the ocean. There are a ton of rideshare drivers looking for rideshare cars. A lot of people may ask, well, why aren't these people bringing their own cars? A lot of people are new to the country. They need a way to work. They see Uber as a viable option, and this is just what they're going to do for the time being. Now, a lot of times, if you don't have cash, if you don't have credit, you're going to have to rent a car for the sake of driving for Uber, and that's really the situation we are in. There is a major shortage of cars for rideshare drivers in this country right now. This is a market that I discovered 10 years ago. I had initially 5 cars in my own fleet 10 years ago, and what I would tell you is that I never had a problem renting those cars in the New Jersey, New York City, tri-state area. To this day, this still remains true. The demand is nonstop for these types of rentals. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, gosh, I don't want these grimy little Uber drivers driving my car. I don't want them putting on mileage that is bad for my car. I will say that it depends on the city you live in. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. If you are in a city that's more of a large urban sprawl, like Dallas, like Atlanta, like Los Angeles, yes, they will put more miles on your car. However, if you're in a place like New York City, if you are in a place like Boston, maybe Miami, the mileage is not going to be nearly as bad. Now, in terms of Getaround is also very invested in the rideshare driver market. They obviously have the Drive with Uber program. Ironically, they are the originators and builders of the Uber Rent app. So there has been collaboration between those two companies in the last 10 or 15 years. We have this little cesspool now of everyone trying to help each other out in this industry with regards to rideshare drivers. This just isn't going to go away. Next year, we're going to see a major expansion from Getaround with Drive with Uber cities, and I expect to just see this market overall really expand quite a bit. So this isn't going away anywhere. If you are getting into this business right now, and if you are really interested in this, a lot of you are frustrated with Turo, you're moving away from Turo. Look, come back to the fundamentals, baby. The most lucrative form of rentals are rideshare drivers who are long-term renters and are taking the car for months at a time. We're starting to see this model play out on Turo. We've already seen this model play out on Getaround. It's just not going away. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, on a private rental agreement, you can easily make $450 to $500 a week on a private rental agreement with an Uber driver. If you're clearing $1,600, $1,700 a month after fees and whatnot, that's excellent in this space. And I think these companies recognize that. There are a lot of people out there that are willing to pay maybe 80, 90 bucks a day for a car if they're driving 12 hours a day. It's going to take them 3 or 4 hours hours to cover that cost in driving in the first part of the day. But what I would tell you is that it still is profitable for them. So a lot of people don't understand this, is that this is still very much a needed market. It is very undersupplied. We're going to see a huge expansion in rideshare drivers over the next few years on Turo, on GetAround. What I will say in terms of mileage, I know many of you are concerned about mileage. I would tell you now, based on the data that I am seeing, the mileage is not as bad as you think. Normally, when you have a car on a rideshare long-term rental, usually the driver, if they're driving 40, maybe 45 hours a week, they'll do about 4,000 to 5,000 miles a month on the car. So if you are going to buy a car for the sake of rideshare purposes, you really need to factor in that runway and how old the car is. So if you have a car already that has 120,000 miles on it and you want to use it for rideshare, that car is going to be a little on the old side, given the fact that a rideshare driver could theoretically put on 60,000 miles in that next year. And so that would obviously burn out the runway for what that car is able to do. That said, I will tell you what the data I'm seeing from the Drive with Uber program on GetAround and some other sources is showing that the mileage is much less, especially in more condensed cities. So I don't want to say this unequivocally yet or make it an official announcement, but I think it's possible that some of these long-term renters we're seeing are coming in more around the 2,000 miles a mark a month, which frankly is not that bad. If you're pulling $1,600 to $1,800 gross revenue in a month and you're only putting on 2,000 miles, that's pretty good. Like I've always said, the 1-to-1 ratio of mileage put on the car to dollars into your bank account is ideal. So that is pretty good, but obviously we want that cash flow higher than lower. So overall, what I would tell you is that just get used to rideshare drivers. You're just gonna have to get used to it. And I know a lot of you don't want that. I know especially Turo hosts do not like that. And so really it's just a reality. When I came into this industry 10 years ago, I bought cars for the sake of rideshare drivers. I targeted it exactly to them. And guess what? They were very lucrative even back then. So I would tell you that some of the best numbers I've ever put up on a car ever have been from rideshare drivers on long-term rentals. So obviously if you want to get into how to deal with rideshare drivers, that's a whole different conversation for another day, but there is complexity to it. It is a little more tricky. However, if you are dealing with a rideshare driver through Turo or through GetAround, it does make that a lot easier because you do have that third-party buffer, which is nice. Overall, though, I'm going to tell you right now, get used to rideshare drivers. You're going to have to accept them. You're going to have to let them drive your cars. Now, if you have like exotics, if you have Mercedes C250 or whatever, then yes, you're probably not going to use that for Uber drivers. I get that. Like, I understand that. But I see the way this industry is moving, and rideshare drivers is going to be a big part of it. You're just going to have to accept this. Now, that said, if you are a luxury or exotics guy, keep doing the luxury exotics thing. I mean, there is certainly a market for that. It's a totally different thing. I have many of you who are viewers and clients who love that market, and that's great. You've made your money doing it that way. That's fine. But like I said, I do think there's a lot of money in rideshare, and I don't think it's going away anywhere. So all that to say, drop some comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Tell me about how much you hate rideshare drivers. I know. Before I go, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business. I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you.